On today's episode of Watch Share Go, as you guys saw yesterday, the engine's in, and we're gonna try to get closer to starting it. It looks pretty cool. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Share Go, and today we've got the alternator back off. We were trying to clean that up real quick, and I got the new posi this morning. Just showed up, so we're popping the rear diff cover off. Maybe. Somebody put this on with that old aviation Parma gasket, I bet. Ugh. That is gross. It looks like mud's coming out, not diff fluid.
Yeah, it's pretty brown. It's not a milkshake, but it's definitely got some water intrusion.
That is diff fluid with chocolate milk in it.
It's gotta be water. I think it just sat for so long.
Yeah.
Through condensation, like hot and cold cycles, it just formed condensation in there? I don't know.
Checks out. I need to pull these straps all the way off and get the tank hung. We're doing this because we thought when you turn the rear end, there's a really nasty noise. We don't know what it is yet. Maybe there's like a broken tooth on the ring gear or something. Hey, the cover's off. Nice.
I'm censoring it for you.
Oh, okay.
I'm building suspense.
Hiding it? Go for it.
And it's an open diff.
Yeah, it sure is. You see? I don't see anything broken. Oh, well, I should just go turn the drive shaft.
We know we're going to replace this carrier anyway.
Yeah, it's going away right now. You see anything broken? Maybe it was just clanking around. Man, there's sludge just sitting in the bottom of that housing.
And there's not even really an excessive amount of wear on the worm gears? Oh, what is that?
Dude, it has like 2 inches of sludge in it. It just keeps coming out. Oh man, that is... It really doesn't smell that bad though. It doesn't smell too differential fluidy. Probably because it's full of water. I do think all the gears look fine.
Yeah.
Huh. They're polished nicely and...
It does have, see where it kind of binds right there? It's kind of hard to turn. And you'll see it release in a second. There, it's kind of relaxed.
Yeah.
Then it's going to bind again. I wonder if that's like an indication of maybe a slightly bent axle? I don't know.
Could be.
Right there, it's getting tight again.
I'll give you some input so we can actually see. What? What's all that play?
It's just a little sloppy.
Very sloppy. I mean, I'm getting like a 1/4 inch of play.
Maybe that was just all the noise was the binding, the preload.
It could be.
It's just way off.
It's just beat.
Yeah.
Too bad I didn't buy a ring gear and a...
But I mean, it looks like the gears have been running fairly well on the ring.
Yeah.
Like the pinion and the ring, it seemed fine. Maybe just an excessive amount of preload.
It could be.
So that, I mean, our pad or our patch, whatever, it looks good. So whoever set it up, assuming it was rebuilt at some time, did a good job there.
1/4 inch play.
That might just be wear.
Could be. Could be.
Rotate it. I want to see if I can see any numbers on this ring. Oop, stop.
Sorry, come back.
Of course, it was sitting right where I needed it. GM part number 3790629 space 1231 1267. That's got to be the date of manufacture.
Huh.
31/12 of 67. So these were New Year's Eve gears.
Original then.
Maybe that's what's wrong with them. They're excited to get out of the factory.
Yeah, that was the wrong day to build a rear end.
Yeah.
So, since we thought something was broken, and because, you know what, it's got to spin both tires at the same time, that's kind of a rule, right? A little bit of a rule. We have here the Yukon Gear posi for the 8.2. And this is, of course, the friction clutch posi. And we've got the additive. So we got to pull that thing apart and bolt this thing together. The axle clips are out, and now it's time to see something you don't see very often. Keep going?
Yeah. That's good.
Okay, it seems like it was good. Yep. All right, those are the wheels pulling out, along with the entire axle assembly there. So now we should.
She's free.
Yeah. Just drop the carrier. This axle probably needs rebuilt at this point. It probably needs resealed and all that good stuff. But hey, right now it just has to run, and you know, what? Do that in about 7 days.
A little more. Okay.
I felt it.
And passenger side.
I felt it drop just a little bit.
You're free.
Boom.
Oh, shims are coming out everywhere.
I know, I saw the bearings trying to drop.
Now all we got to do is drag our posi over here and move the gears over. So we're going to pull all of those bolts right there and bolt that gear, that ring gear there, onto the new posi. Josh is right. He said check out that stance. And yeah, we have all the stance now. That's that muscle car look.
Now we're back in the 60s.
Yeah. All right. So there's our posi with its clutches. And there is the ring gear that's got to move. So I'm going to grab the big impact and start ripping those bolts off there.
I could put a couple of those bolts back in there.
You don't want it to drop or what? Oh, and just hit them?
Hit the bolts, yeah.
Yeah. Here.
It's moving down. Ting!
Okay.
Winner, winner.
Dang.
Is that it?
I don't think they're indexed because it fit the first try. All right, the ring gear doesn't want to go on, so we're going to help it. That worked out really well.
It did work out well. I was skeptical.
I know. How hot is it? Like hot?
Probably hot.
You can see the ring gear's on. We got the bolts in. The bolts need torque to 55 foot-pounds, but it's kind of burning hot still. So they're started. We'll wait till it cools down and then suck it in. This thing is still hot, as you would say. And they're all torqued to spec now. 55 foot-pounds. We've had to clamp it to the bench because we couldn't even hold back with, you know, 2 hands on paper towels trying to squeeze it as tight as we could. So anyway, that worked out pretty well.
150 degrees.
It must still be, yeah, it's in the hundreds, that's for sure. The snap-on beast, making quick work of all that. And now we gotta go get bearings. So we've got that center section all loaded up in the truck, and we are here at O'Reilly's to get 80W90 gear oil because I don't have it in Motul, unfortunately. I sure wish I did. And there's something else. Oh, bearings. We gotta get bearings.
Well, you like it?
I didn't like it. I love it.
Me too. Getting set up to do a little pressing. You're pressing me, bro. Okay, so we got our bearing here, centered. Seems safe to me. Set this guy on here. Ooh, it actually needs to slide over a little bit, doesn't it? Right there is centered. All right, let's try to make this happen. Recenter this thing. That seems close. Just hit it, you think?
Yep.
It's not like... Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I was concerned about.
Yep.
I think that was it.
Good. That's it.
Yeah, it's seated. Round 2. Get this guy on here. Seems like we're pretty close. Let's run.
Edit.
Edit! Take the glasses on. Honestly, I should probably have a press, but hey, we got it done really quick. Huge shout out to the Car Ninja for letting us use his press there. And we are ready to go put this thing back in. We are waiting on new axle seals. Those were coming in from the O'Reilly's hub. So one more run back there and we can install this thing. We're getting the rear end done. I'm changing these axle seals right now. As you can see, the wheel and axle setup is completely off. So the other one is out as well, and I gotta pull out the old seal. The old seals were pretty beat, so I did want to reseal this. There's no reason for these to be leaking. So there's our new seal. Our old seal that's going in the trash right now. I gotta pop that out. And yeah, the rear end is ready to go in. And our shim kit's here. And Josh is doing the power steering action up here right now. Oh, that looks awesome. Custom A-line power steering setup for the high side. And that should wrap up power steering. One chapter wrapped up. So hopefully the rear end and the power steering will be knocked out shortly. Okay, the new center section is in. Take a look at that. I threw all that Prussian blue on it so we can check the pattern. It's tough to see on camera, but we think we've got a pretty good pattern. We got good backlash and everything, so it's set up minus some dirt in there.
I think it's acceptable.
Yeah, it'll run.
It's within spec.
Yep.
Spec was 6 to 10 thou, and we're about 11. I think it's as good as we're gonna get. Really.
Yep. And we got a shim kit, but the shims don't fit, so that's just not gonna work out. So we had to modify those shims, and we got it as close as it could possibly be. Oh, and put the axles back in, maybe, huh?
We might need those.
No worries. Those can just fall off. Time for these guys to go back in, and you guys saw we resealed these, so they've got brand new axle seals. And I'm trying to get that to line up. Seems like it needs to go back a little bit. There went part of it. There it goes. It's going in. Does that work?
Almost.
More?
More.
There you go.
There we go.
Just greased the U-joint, and it seems like it runs a lot better. That old U-joint had been, well, that's some really old grease. There's our final look in the rear end before it goes back together. It is now a posi. So installing the rear diff cover became a little bit of fun. I had a new gasket for it, the Felpro gasket. We were like, why don't we just put some RTV on there just in case, make sure it never leaks. So we grabbed the can of Right Stuff, and Ultra Black that is, and we started the flow after using the drill bit and all that fun stuff. You guys know how it is. Every time you don't use RTV, it sets up and it becomes a disaster. Well, I finally got it to start coming out, and it just started fogging out all the way around where the actual, like the applicator tip goes, and all of, oh man, what a disaster. So that was exciting. I had to put it on while it was fogging out of there, and it was all over my hands. And I just put a bead on as fast as I could on both sides, slap the diff cover on. The diff cover is on, and it looks amazing. And we are full of fluid, 80W90 or O'Reilly's GL5 over there. And of course, now that we're going posi, we gotta have diff additive. So we had this Yukon Gear and Axle limited slip friction modifier that I bought with the posi itself. So it's done, but I'm gonna go ahead and put a jacker under the front of the car, jack it up, and then we'll finish filling it. It's full and it was coming out the fill hole, but just in case, we're gonna get it level. It might hold a little bit more. So at the end of the day, the rear end is finally ready to go. We can do burnouts with it, and we can trust it, I hope. It's set up really, really nicely. There was a lot of setup, and of course it just took a long time. Pretty time consuming process, and pressing on the bearings and all that fun stuff. It's done. Power steering lines are done. These are the ICT billet power steering kit there. It lets you make custom AN lines for the power steering with like 400 or 2000 PSI hose, I think. That solves another problem. Power steering system is done and full of fluid, which is awesome. The radiator hoses are done, and of course we made the custom radiator hose. You always end up having to make some hoses on these. And what we used was the Trailblazer SS hose kit. This is the upper, and it worked as is. And the lower, we cut in half, took out a big old chunk of it, and then put the repair kit in there with the Gates clamp that pulls it together. I mean, it never comes apart once that's on there. So the heat shrink Gates hose clamps, again, as always, I think we're done mechanically. Other than the fuel crossover, which we're waiting on the parts, we went ahead and got those coming from Holley. We picked up a Canon air filter that we could just shove on the front of it. And as a lot of you did notice, there's no more hood. We can't fit the hood. There's too many things that hit. The alternator is actually higher than the intake by a little bit, so the alternator hits and the intake hits, and we're gonna come up with a plan down the road, because I don't want to run a cowl hood, as we've talked about. I want this to look like a stock RS. So down the road, we'll come up with a plan. I think the plan is more power. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com, where you can get cool shirts like this that I changed into because Hoovie and I shot a video a minute ago. And please, like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. You guys better be on the lookout for that new video with Hoovie and I. It's going to be awesome. It's a banger. We got our weather pack connector, so I guess tomorrow we got to get the ECU mounted and start wiring the car. That's where we're at, and a throttle. Throttle, ECU, wire the car, and it's done. I think that's it. Really, we probably could have gotten close to starting it today. Also, we painted the alternator and cleaned the alternator. And I mean, we spent a lot of time on the little things today.
That looks awesome. I'm pumped.
Yes, it needs a mech man, but that's another problem for another time.